Welcome to our third training video at our Traditional Karate Academy in Des Moines, Iowa. We are today going to go through the Teikyoku Shodan, the very first kata that you learn as a beginning student, and then add the other 5 hand katas to it. Also, we'd like to do a little bit of application to those katas, but we're going to start out by using the katas to train with and to get a good warm-up. If you can warm up on your own before this video gets started, then do so, but otherwise we'll use the kata to just get a little bit of a sweat going. Today joining me again is my eldest son, Seth Rosendahl, and then also today Zach Rosendahl has showed up to train with us, so we'll be working out together. I'm sure the other 2 grandkids that you saw in the first 2 videos will be back to train again, but we've just changed personnel, if you will, today. So I'm going to start out again with Teikyoku Shodan, but again, remember, you don't have to have a big space. You might be sitting at home going, well, I don't have a nice, luxurious space to do the kata in. I have a very limited space, and as Aiden showed us on the first video, you can do that simply by using a principle we call change back. For example, if I'm going to do the first kata and I start out downward block, and then step and punch, you might say, well, I don't have that much room. So as Aiden showed us, you can start out downward block, and then instead of stepping, we do what we call a change back. So you bring the leg back and then punch. Then I can turn again, downward block, same thing, change back, step and punch. Downward block, change back, step and punch. So you can do the whole kata in relatively a small area. But I think with a little bit of work, if you push out a couch or a chair or two, you have plenty of room to do the katas. So for example, Teikyoku Shodan, if we started right here, this is approximately a 9 by 9 area. So if you watch again, if I'm doing the kata, 1, even if I step and punch, 2, then downward block with a step, 3, punch, downward block, then punch, punch, punch. And of course, the kata continues from here, downward block, and repeats itself. Downward block, punch, then coming back again, 3 punches, right? Then downward block, punch, downward block, punch. Then back to the beginning. So, again, this was done in relatively a small area, about 9 by 9. So again, if you want to do what Aiden did and just do in place, or if you can push a few chairs out of the way, then you can do the full katas. Again, Seth and Zach are going to join me now as we go through Teikyoku Shodan, and we're going to do this by count. Shomani re, Teikyoku Shodan,
Teikyoku Shodan.
Yoi. Again, do this for warm up, so don't do it fast unless you're already warmed up. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yame. And bobble. Alright, if you will, just turn and then go ahead and step back a little bit, and I'm going to take this place here. Alright, again, this time facing a different direction, but now you can see more clearly some of the actions as we're performing the kata. Alright, Shomani re. Teikyoku Shodan.
Teikyoku Shodan.
Yoi. Again by count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yame. And bobble. Yoi. Alright, that's the very first basic kata that you learn as a white belt. Then followed by that is now a series of 5 katas called hand katas. The first one is called hand shodan. Again, sho meaning one and dan meaning level. The kata that's named hand can be interpreted also as peaceful way or peaceful mind. And we're going to demonstrate those again to you as you warm up. So you go at your own speed. If you have already warmed up on your own, then go ahead and feel free to go faster or stronger in terms of technique. If not, again, just apply the technique slowly. All right, ready? Shomoni de. Hand shodan.
Hand shodan.
Yoi. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Gu. Ju. Hai. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Hai. Gu. Ju. Ich. Ni. Yame. And volley. Yoi. All right, turning to the back. Again, we'll just change places here. Now you can see the kata a little bit different angle as we come toward the camera. Shomoni de. Hand shodan.
Hand shodan.
Yoi. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Gu. Ju. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Gu. Ju. Ich. Ni. Yame. And volley. Yoi. As you notice, this kata now employs a few more techniques than Teikyoku Shodan. It employs the idea of a rising block and then also back stance and knife hand block. So a little bit different, but basically the same format as you saw with Teikyoku Shodan. Now, Heian Nidan changes a little bit in terms of what we call the line of emusen. To those students that train with us, you know the line of emusen is like a road map that the kata follows, right? And if you see, I don't know if you can see on the video, but taped out here is a large letter I. And that was the road map that we use for Teikyoku Shodan. Now, Heian Nidan changes a little bit from Teikyoku Shodan and Heian Shodan. So we'll demonstrate that. Again, please go at your own pace. Shomoni de. Heian Nidan.
Hand nidan.
Yoi. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Gu. Ju. Hai. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Gu. Ju. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Hai. Yame. And volley. Yoi. All right, changing places again. Shomoni de. Right. Heian Nidan.
Hand nidan.
Yoi. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Gu. Ju. Hai. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Hach. Gu. Ju. Ich. Ni. San. Shi. Go. Hai. Yame. And volley. Yoi. Make sure you're always breathing when you're doing kata. Technically, kata breath is done with each movement of a kata. Sometimes a couple movements are combined with one breath, but typically every time that you make a move, for example in Heian Nidan, the first move, one, it's one breath. Then 2, you have followed up another action with a counter action, and that sometimes is just the second breath. So the idea would be the first breath is 1, then 2, 3. It's one breath, like one breath followed by a comma because it has 2 actions, or separated by a comma. So anyway, make sure you're breathing while you're doing your kata. Don't hold your breath.
All
right, hand sanda. Shoumini rei. Hand sanda.
Hand sanda.
Wait. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, go, jo, hai. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, go, jo, hai. Yummy. And bow, right? Nice. Facing to the camera. Now, as you noticed, obviously in this kata we utilize more techniques. So you see inside block taking place and double blocks taking place. Still followed up by back stance and forward stance, but also kibarachi is used. And now you see some punching actions like hook punching over the shoulder or blocking with your elbow and back fist. So again, you want to make sure that you understand these techniques as you're training with the kata. All right, one more time. Shoumini rei. Hand sandan.
Hand sanda.
Yoi. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, jo, hai. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, jo, ich, hai. Yummy. And bow, right? Yoi. Should already be feeling a little bit of getting warmed up. Might be your body sweating a little bit. Again, go at your own pace. Next kata is Han Yondan, or the number 4 Han kata. Right? So again, this kata now implies even other, applies other techniques like open hand striking, knee striking. So each kata, as it builds in the series, it has different applications to it. All right. Shoumini rei. Han Yondan.
Hand on.
Yoi. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, jo, ich, ni, san, hai, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, ju, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, hey, sit, hach. Yummy. And bow, right? Yoi. Right, now, if you're critical and you're paying attention, you saw that there's a couple different moves that were made at the end. So, one, you're striking here, then knee strike. I stepped down and turned in, and both of my sons stepped and then turned away. Okay? Sensei, if you're listening, I changed a little bit on the application there. So that's the difference why. It's a difference in this step. One is one type of application, and another is a different application. So again, I stepped down rather than stepping away. All right, let's try it again. Shoumini rei. Han Yondan.
Hand on.
Yoi. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, ju, ich, ni, san, hi, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, ju, ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit. Yummy. And bow, right? Yoi. All right, last cut that we're going to demonstrate is hand goda, hand number 5. A little disclaimer here, this kata has a jump in it. I have had 2 knee surgeries and I take it easy on my knees, so these gentlemen will show you the jump in it while I'm going to simply step through that application in the kata. All right? Show me that. Hand godan.
Hand godan.
Way. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, jo. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, jo. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit. Yummy. And bow, hey. You wait. All right, facing to the camera. Again, so you saw some different things taking place. You saw at least 2 of us jumping in the air. Maybe the idea of jumping over a stick or jumping over even somebody that's on the ground. Something, an obstacle in your way. Or it could be somebody swinging something at your feet. And if you have the timing and proper timing for it, you could jump over something like somebody swinging a stick. But anyway, the application there is different than the other katas, jumping up in the air. All right. Also, you see again elbow strikes being employed, which are very good technique as far as self-defense is concerned. So are hands and feet, but when you start using elbows in your kata, you know that you're doing some realistic damage. So anyway, watch the kata again. Hand godan. Show me that. Hand godan.
Hand godan.
Yoi. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, jo. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach, ku, jo. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sit, hach. Yummy. And bow, eh? Yoi. Go ahead and stay there, it's fine. All right, so each kata now, as you see, and as we demonstrated, has a lot more different applications. Every kata has different applications. We're going to show you just a few, but they are just a few. You can make up your own applications. The only criteria is that it must follow the kata. Right? You can't do something completely different than the kata. And then second is it must work. You must make sure that it's applicable to what you're doing. So that's important when you start looking at making application to the kata. Kata without application is kind of like a car. A car looks really nice, like maybe you have a 65 or a 69 Camaro. All right, it's a really sharp car, but you go to get in it and you go to drive it, it doesn't have a motor. All right, so we can kind of make that analogy a little bit that the kata can look really good and really impressive, but if you don't understand what that kata is doing, if you don't have an application to what's taking place, then the kata really isn't self-defense, it's just for show, it's just a watch. And so we learned that, thank you Sensei Smaby, who I'm sure has learned from a lot of other people, but my sensei and our sensei has done a great deal of work in making application to all the katas in our system. So thanks for that, Sensei. All right, so we're going to do, we're going to take a kata, several katas here, and we're going to do some simple applications to them. Again, of course, this is choreographed, but as I've told you many times before, there is not a military unit in this world or in the history of the world that does not use choreography to train in battle. You say, well, that doesn't work. You're telling some guy to punch and then he's got to defend himself. No, everyone did it. The Romans, the Greeks. Our military does it. What they call games or military games, war games, in order to defend and to learn how to defend. So that's the same thing we're doing here. We make application to the kata. The kata must work. It must provide a system of self-defense. not necessarily fighting, but self-defense. So we're going to demonstrate, I'm going to hand pick a couple katas, and we'll do a little application to them. Now, a side note here, a lot of times in different martial arts like judo, they have throwing, or jiu-jitsu where they have submission techniques. In karate, you don't see throwing to the ground as much, but it's applied. And you should do that as well. You can apply application when it's proper to take somebody to the ground. So for example, I'm going to demonstrate the first one with my son Seth and Heian Nidan. And Seth, if you'll come over here. So again, we're going to make choreography out of this. I'm going to tell him what I want him to do, but then I'm going to show application to the kata. So if you can zoom in a little bit on this, that's okay. If not, we'll go with it, with what you have. So someone has approached me, and I don't have the ability to escape. I can't exit. I'm caught in a room. I'm caught in a corner. There's no way for me to escape this guy. I must, though, not attack first. In keeping with tradition of karate, I am in defense mode now. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to hurt him or try to stop him, but I'm going to make application to the technique. So the very fact that he approaches me and I'm in a defensive posture, you can see he's in aggressive posture. I'm kind of sitting back on my stance a little bit while he's maybe leaning in a little bit. And again, we're going to have Senpai throw a hooking punch, and I'm going to use Heian Nidan at this point to do that. All right, so watch again. As he comes in to attack with a hook punch, I stop him with the first block. Then, this action that you see in the first movement can now be a strike. And I can choose any target to hit with. All right? Then from here, he's going to throw. I blocked him, and maybe I stunned him a little bit, but now he throws a second punch, and I block it as well. So you see that in the kata, and then I uppercut, and then hammer fist strike. All right? And again, we know from our training, previous training, that yes, this stops the punch, and I've stunned him a little bit. You can see he kind of fell back. Then from here, he punches, and I uppercut, hitting the floating ribs, and then now hitting the neck, in which case this is just a knockout strike. All right? Now, from there, you say, is that enough? Sure, it's enough. I can push him away, and if he can't come back at me, then I can take off and I can run and escape the situation. But sometimes I need to get the person down to the ground. So, for example, as he's going to do the same attack, he threatens me, I hit him, then he goes again, and I block and strike and hit, and now I come through and catch him and take him to the ground this way. Now, I can tell him, or I can feel this, if he's going to become more aggressive, then I can do something, or I'm just going to step back. He's down for the count. All right? He's not moving. And he gets up. Now I may have to do something else, or I now gain time to get away. Okay? All right. So one more time we'll go through this, and then treat it non-stop without stopping and explaining. All right, again, he's threatening. Zach, come on in. You're going to do the same thing. Now, Senpai may have a different application to this. All right? Again, it doesn't matter as long as it works. Okay? So we'll have Mr. Rosendahl attack Mr. Rosendahl. So throwing a hook punch.
Same feeling here, striking, but then instead of waiting for the next technique, just using this action to strike here, hitting same time, same feeling. If that leg is behind, you can go straight into a takedown. So one more time. Got it. Going up, right here, inside. 1, 2, 3.
And the technique can change as long as it keeps in keeping with the kata. It can change to make different applications. Again, remember the criteria is that you see that application in the kata, you see that taking place, and now that technique must work. It can't fail in its job to stop the assailant. So that's one application out of hand nidan. Let's move now to a second kata. One of my favorites is hand yondan. It's a kata that has a lot of open hand actions instead of closed fist. All right, and again, you see a lot of different knee strikes. I use the knee strike in this case on senpai, but in this particular application, somebody's going to come in and they're going to grab you, and now you see this take place in the kata. Well, what is that application? What does it look like? So this time I'm going to use senpai, and he's just going to come in. So again, we choreograph this. I'm going to tell him what to do. But again, that's how you learn. That's how you learn to make applications. You do it repetitive over and over and over again, and pretty soon your mind doesn't even think about it anymore. It's just a natural action. That's why we do our techniques hundreds and thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of times over the period of 30, 40, 50 years training. All right, it builds that that constant repetitiveness builds the application into the technique. So in this particular case, if you remember hand yondan, there was this application where you're striking, knee striking, and then I step down and turn. Okay? So if he's going to come in, the attack is different. Instead of a big hooking punch, he's just going to come in with like a bear hug action, or like he's going to come up and grab my lapels. So he's already threatening, he's got an aggressive posture, and as I see him, I cannot escape. He attacks. And I jam my thumbs into his carotid area, or into the neck on each side of the trachea. Not here, but on each side of the trachea or the carotid area. Again, thanks Sensei Smitty. So as we hit here, this drives him back a little bit. Now, I can drive through and hook. As I hook, I'm going to slide right up his knee with the knee strike this way. Then as I step down, I already have my tool in which to take him down. Again, remember, if I hit him correctly, he's now having a hard time breathing. He's been stunned. So I turn and I take him down. Then again, I don't take it for granted that he's not going to roll out of that. Maybe he's a wrestler. Maybe he's just tough. He's big and tough, and he can roll out of there. He can roll out of there and now come right back at me. And I need to make sure that I account for that. So I'm going to make sure that he's down. So one more time. He's coming in from here. I strike to the knee, then take him down and control him. If I see he's out and he's not moving, and then I'm good to back up. I back up, I see he's down. Somebody call 911. He's falling. So anyway, this is what we call application to kata. All right, very good. Thank you very much. So you find out when you're studying your kata, and I said the word studying, when you're studying your kata, figure out what each move means. Don't just do it for exercise. Do it for exercise, but also do it for application to what could possibly happen on the street. In every kata, you see all kinds of attacks. You see hook punches, you see jabs, you see grabs, you see somebody even maybe trying to do some type of martial art kick, or some type of kick that they used, or wrestlers that grab, that naturally come and grab. Of course, anyone that attacks you on the street with a martial art or attacks you with some type of wrestling skill, they've had bad training. They've not been taught respect. Respect is that you never want to fight. My only fighting is done after somebody makes an assault toward me or toward my family, somebody that I care and love about, I love. Maybe even that extends to somebody that I don't care that much about, but they don't deserve to be beat up. And then with the skill that you learn, you can now defend such a person. So anyway, think about that as you train through your kata. Especially if you're testing with a kata and you have a testing kata that you're doing, maybe kankudai or basai-dai or something like that. Figure out what every movement is and what every application would be to that. And then you'll have a good understanding of what you're doing in your kata. All right, to finish up, we're going to have both senpais do a little bit of kumite. So I want them to do one-step kumite. So the attacks will be jodan, chudan, maigeri, mawashigeri, and maybe spin back kick. Now again, this is not so much an application in the street. The street application comes much closer. But this would be a system of kumite that you train in your martial arts. So we're going to have Senpai demonstrate, Senpai Seth, and then Senpai Zach is going to attack. All right, again, so just nice and easy, and then you have a response. If you remember Senpai's last class, he was working on how to move and counter different feelings, but now we're going to do it with all techniques, punching, kicking, so on and so forth. All right, slowly begin. So that was a simple Jodan attack. You could apply that to a hook punch as well. Continuing. So now the attack was to the chest, Chudan attack, and you saw Senpai angle off to the side and counter. Hey, mind getting. So again, the reason Senpai moves to the side is what? Because his arm is much weaker than that front kick. And if he tries to block that front kick too late, it can break his arm. So he had to move into the inside and then counter. I want to demonstrate that one more time slowly, but show how you turn that into a takedown. Very slowly. Alright? And again, you obviously at home don't have a partner to do that, but you can visualize this. Alright? So let's just have Senpai visualize that. Don't attack. And again, the kick comes in, he's going to shift and catch it. Alright? Then as he catches it, he takes that person down. So you can train that. You can take that into your own training time and make that application. Alright, then continuing. So now the attack was Mawashi, or round kick. Alright, then finally a spinning back kick. Again, maybe not seen on the street as much, but somebody with a bad training and learned a little bit of martial arts, watch the spinning kick, and now they go out and try to apply it. Same thing. Alright, yame. And bow. Hey? Okay, very good. Alright, so that's basic level, what we call ippon kumite, or one-time attack. Different attacks, but one application, or one-time attack, and then the person applies, counters, takes down. Now, the next thing that we do is just kind of a slow, what's called a semi-free sparring. And we're going to have Senpai attack again, and then Senpai will defend. And the semi-free sparring is one side attacks by announcing, but they're not going to tell them when they're going to go. They go on their own timing. So Senpai will announce. He can use, again, jab, punch, counter punch, kicking techniques, but he's not going to wait to attack. He's going to go on his own timing. So we'll demonstrate this, again called semi-free sparring. You saw the jab coming, and now a counter punch. So there, he used another technique, as you saw the children doing in the other class, the change back. He used the change back now that Aiden was doing in his kata. He used it now to apply with a front kick. He changed back, he moved out of the way, and then came in. So again, that technique applied in now sparring. Finally, spinning back kick. Yame. And bow. Okay. Alright. To finish up now, I want to slow that down, and then Senpai's going to show you how you can apply a technique of taking down to every one of those. We're going to go a little bit slower so you can watch it. Again, you don't have a partner at home, I understand that. And you may not have this big space to do it in, but you can still train, as we mentioned, in a 9x9 area. Each one of these mats are 3x3. So the kata that I demonstrated for you was in 3 mats wide, and then again 3 mats long and across. So 9 mats are plenty of room to train in. So that would be a 9x9 area. Again, so now to finish up, we're going to go to a little bit of a freestyle situation again, and Senpai is going to apply takedowns or application to that rather than just block and counter. He's going to do some simple things, so please attack slowly. You see he came in with a double leg sweep after his counter punch. Continuing the shoot on attack. A little less contact.
Right.
Continue my getting front kick.
Right.
And last one, spinning backward. And bow, Shotokan. So you can see that the speed of which technique they used here slowed down a little bit. To go faster, of course, is the key, and to go stronger and harder is the key to stop your opponent from attacking you. But again, in this video, we wanted to show you a little bit more slow motion. Now, again, I know you might be saying, but I don't have a partner to do that. But you can go home and role play. Imagine that somebody's attacking you. So as he demonstrated the other night, there you go. So now what happens if somebody attacks Shotokan? He's got to see it. Somebody's going to attack with his stomach. He catches it, counters, and then it's going to just come in and knock the person over his leg. Somebody front kicks. Right? He catches it and counters them. Takes them down and counters them. Then roundhouse kick. And again, you can see that time he just moved right into it, and his block and his movement was almost one action. Then he took the person off balance. And then spinning back. He gets behind and ambushes the person and pulls them down. All right, very good. Okay, one last thing before we close out this class is I want you to see some of the power that traditional karate can make. And again, power is created by understanding good body mechanics. When we talk about strong body mechanics, we're talking about using the hip to vibrate or using the hip to rotate. We're talking about dropping power, lifting power, all these things that make the punches and the kicks very strong. Not just simply by throwing techniques out and like swatting flies, but you must understand the application of using body mechanics to make your technique strong and very, very devastating. I remember years ago when we had the old dojo, we talked about, I had an article up there that talked about the Shotokan punch being a lethal punch, a killing punch. If hit in the right area and with the right force, then you could devastate your opponent to that degree. Again, that's always the last resort. We would not want that to happen, but you train for that kind of intensity. So Senpai now is very powerful. He's played some sports. He actually played on a semi-pro team, football one time, and so he was very fast and got very strong, and he applies that into his karate training. But seeing, now bag training is a way to see and to generate power. All right? Again, you say, well, I don't have a bag, or maybe you do. Maybe you have a bag at home, holding a bag, or you have an old traditional makiwara, a punching post. Those things will help you build power. So if you have a bag at home and you can do that, we'll just show you a couple training drills of senpai kicking the bag or hitting the bag. All right? Go ahead. So maybe use reverse punch. So start out using a few reverse punches. Now, pay attention to the hips and everything that he's using, the pull back hand that he has to create more power, all right, and the rotation of the hip to create power. All right, go ahead and try a few times. Okay, now don't use your hip, just punch. Don't use your hip. Keep your hip front and just punch. Okay? You can see that there's still energy there, there's still some power there, but now go back to rotating. And now you see more energy delivered into the target. Okay, very good. So again, you can train that way if you have a bag, a hanging bag, or maybe if you can mount a bag some way, then you can use that also as part of your training. Also, it's a great way to come in if you've had a tough day. You maybe work with some clients, you work with some people, you're a school teacher. Of course, you're off school now, but the kids were really rough that day. You can go home and hit that bag. Okay, hit that bag, release that energy, and thereby relaxing you and calming you down. Okay, so now followed up front kicking. And again with a little bit of ease as you start out. So this front snap kick has a tremendous amount of power. And you can see and he's not, okay, wasn't going as hard as he could. He started to. Was that as hard as he could? Okay, you can see the devastation that it has on him. Imagine if I would take this bag away and go very slowly, Senpai would come in like maybe to put his hands on him. Senpai would come in to attack, to grab him, easy. And you could see, imagine the application of what he just did with the bag, hitting him without the bag. Very devastating. All right, then one last application to use elbows or knees. Now, we know that the techniques like kicking or stepping and punching, they are long-range techniques, especially kicking. So you have to have room to do that sometime. Maybe you don't have the room. So now you can use what we call striking. So striking is done with the elbow, striking is done with the knee. Again, he's going to demonstrate a few elbow strikes into the bag. Very good. Okay. All right. Then finally, knee strike. So he's going to grab a hold of the partner and then knee strike. Okay, very good. And you can hear, thank you, you can hear the air coming out because of the velocity and strength of the technique. Now, last one, go ahead and hold on to that. Of course, Senpai's arms are tied up now, but imagine again if he was coming in to attack and grab hands on, or he's going to throw a hook punch, or he's going to choke the person out. And Senpai would just imitate that he's blocking, grabbing, and knee striking, and then I want you to easily take him down to the ground. Yummy. Very good. And so now you can see the energy in which this knee strike is delivered to the opponent. All right, very good. Okay. All right, let's finish. Go ahead and set the bag to the side. And we will now face the camera to finish. All right, so bowing to sensei, great. All right, to each other, otogai great. All right, and then bowing to those of you watching by video. All right, otogai great. All right, thank you very again for watching these videos. I hope they're profitable to you. I hope you can develop some type of training program as we are off for these undisclosed amount of time. Have a good afternoon, and we'll see you on the next video.